I could tell within 2 minutes of meeting you, you're not just some boy band guy. And you are too good for that wedding band.
Hi, John.
How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so happy you're here. One of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm not lying, is Sing Street.
Nice.
Yes, and I've been asking everybody like what their favorite movie soundtracks of all time are, and that one just keeps coming up.
Amazing.
In my head.
Great.
I mean, Drive It Like You Stole It is just...
Drive It Like You Stole It's a banger, isn't it?
It's a banger,
Yes,
man.
I know. I wish I'd written that.
And now you're back with Power Ballad here at South by Southwest. Just tell me about kind of what the idea of the film is and what it means to you.
The movie continues in my tradition of heartwarming, musically themed, not too heavy movies, but it goes a little bit deeper into the kind of process of collaboration and the idea of ownership and copyright and who owns what and why and how hard it is to define what that is. And it I guess attempts to sort of dive into that in a kind of a fun, personalized sort of way that's specific to both of these characters who claim they wrote the same song.
Yeah. Is there was there like a specific thing that happened that kind of launched the...
There was no one specific thing. I feel like films, ideas for movies are like sort of spokes of a bicycle wheel. They're going around in your head, and they're relevant, and then they pass relevancy, and they become quiet again, and then they come. And it just seemed really that the world, or people, the public, were kind of interested in what until then really was more of like an industry thing of such and such is suing such and such over this, and that there were a couple of big cases, and it felt like people were ready and interested and kind of primed to hear a story about what this means and what it feels like to be stolen from, or to claim that you're being stolen from, and what it feels like to want something that you hear so badly that you can maybe fudge the moral lines a little bit and maybe allow yourself to put your hand in the cookie jar a little bit deeper than you normally would.
Oh yeah, when whenever I would like cover music, like there's so many intricacies, like interpolation versus like
crazy.
Yeah, it's
it's very hard to define what and then these are very legal terms that we come up with on planet Earth to pay our rent and look after our interests. But after in the long run, we die and the songs or the poems stay living, and nobody cares who wrote them. And in a sense of, so it's very interesting. It's a very interesting question that I think the film deals with, and the main character deals with, which is, I know I own part of this song, but I don't know if I'll ever get remuneration or credit for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a bigger story that's going on here, which I'm part of, in which I have to sort of let go of my ownership.
Right. I think, I know people are going to get on me for even reference, but when Taylor Swift was buying her catalog back, I think people got really interested in like all of the intricacies of music rights.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, that was a big case, and then there was Ed Sheeran, and then there was who else? There was the Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, there
story.
was some Katy Perry lawsuit with something. I
didn't hear that one.
I don't remember which song it was.
There's a few that have been circling, for years of like, and it's interesting because you kind of get a good guy and a bad guy, and then you get the lawyers and you get the agents. It's a very dramatic situation, not one that I would ever want to find myself in, but it kind of has good guys and bad guys and villains and and all of that, and also it has the innocence of the original idea of writing a song is from a very innocent, very pure place. You speak to a lot of songwriters and they're sitting in hotel bedrooms, or ideas come to them in the most sort of innocuous of places. It's not like they're sitting down trying to write a hit or anything like that. So something that starts off as a very sort of personal, private moment is then, you are giving it away every night for free, in a sense. You have this song or this idea, and you sing it to somebody every night. It's kind of theirs then. but it's very hard to define what the rules of that are.
Right. And you have Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas.
Yeah.
And I assume Nick Jonas just had stories for days about things like this.
He's not that type of guy. He has it in his bones, so he doesn't need to tell it. He just knows what he's doing, and he's been doing this for longer than anybody that I know. He's really is a child star. So he brought a lot of that unspoken, unsaid reality and experience to the role, which was valuable.
When you were looking at who you wanted to cast, I mean, it's like one of those pairings I wouldn't think of, and then see them together, and I'm like, oh my God, Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas, like that's amazing. So
it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you do what you do, but
you wouldn't think it, but it does kind of weirdly work. I suppose that is what all good directing is. Good casting. And unlikely teams and partnerships that you kind of go, what? And it's, I guess, in a way, I don't know. In a way, it's a buddy movie, even though they're after each other's blood for a period of time. They do get along, and they're funny and charming together at the beginning of the film, and they're, so maybe we'll make a sequel.
That's like that's a charm off right there.
Yeah,
between those two.
It is. They're very. They work very well together, and it's unlikely as well. Yeah, you're right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned like loving Sing Street. I have that. I have it on vinyl, and I play it all the time, and I love it. So for Power Ballad, is there an album that will come with?
Yes. Yeah. There'll be a Paul Rudd side and a Nick Jonas side, and you flip them, and you see a picture of both of them, which is kind of cool.
Are you being oh my God, really?
Yeah. Well, it suits the movie, doesn't it?
That's awesome.
It's like they're both making this claim about this piece of art that gets created at the beginning of the film. So it's almost like we always said, myself and Peter MacDonald, who wrote the film and is also in it, sort of at the very beginning, we were like, these two guys are kind of alike. They shouldn't be that different. They're kind of two sides of the same coin. So the album will complement that nicely, I think.
That's brilliant. Oh my gosh. What is it about the intersection? It's perfect. We're at South by Southwest. The intersection of music and film that speaks to you.
Probably being a person of a short attention span in school, and teachers saying, "What, Carney, wake up!" And I do have a very short attention span, and I realized as a screenwriter, I would kind of get bored too quickly and go and play the piano or go and noodle at the guitar or something like that. And I remember working with other writers who'd be like, "Will you stop doing that?" Or it's frustrating. And over the years, I've managed somehow to kind of make that move in my living room from laptop, and I get tired and I go to the piano, and I've managed to sort of connect the two a little bit. Mm-hmm. And people seem to enjoy the few films that I've made, so I'll continue doing that until my license is revoked.
It's a superpower. I'll tell you what, I'm not a doctor, don't take this advice, but I have ADHD, and my doctor was like, I don't want to prescribe you anything because your randomness is actually working for you.
I mean, not to get into a whole thing about that, but like a lot of that terminology that you guys use very liberally in America, we're just getting used to using it here. So now everybody has ADHD in Ireland and all these. And you realize half the fucking class in the 1970s had all of these different labels and issues, but it was kind of helpful I'm not, it's nice to be correctly diagnosed, and it can be helpful, but it can be controlling as well, I think. And there's a sort of I'm much more for the, like, you get 32 people in a classroom, there's 32 individuals there. It's very hard to corral all these molecules together, you know. So I agree with you. I think I've managed to turn what probably would have been the negatives of my personality into something right now, which is great. I'm happy for that.
Since you're already bouncing around, I mean, I know we're in Power Ballad land, but are you like, do you look at, how far do you look ahead? Are you already kind of cranking away?
Yeah, I'm never too crazy to plan too far ahead, because I know that that's not within my control. So I do like to know that my kids will eat and get to go to school.
Yeah.
And I have to think of, and filmmaking is like, you should really probably have 3 or 4 pots on the boil at the same time, because one of them will fall off, and one of them will evaporate, and one of them will this. And hopefully, if the more you have, the more likelihood you have of making another movie.
What's the advice you would have for like an aspiring filmmaker who's like wants to get started, they get stuck? Like, is it just keep writing, keep trying it, or do you? What is kind of your method?
Yeah, there's a certain people. It's not grit. I don't want to turn it into necessarily a positive thing or a heroic thing, but you do need to kind of. It's a weird kind of reluctance to give up. It's just knocking at the same door again, and it just doesn't open, and it doesn't open, and it doesn't, and you have to keep going. And there is a certain sort of you just have to keep on going. But I mean, there's so many opportunities now to make interesting.
There's so many ways in.
There are a lot of more. There are a lot of, and technology, which can be a bad thing. There's so many different ways of expressing creativity, and it doesn't have to be a 90-minute film anymore or a 3.5-minute song. Why are we or a pilot or it's very. I think it must be exciting to be coming up now and to kind of be bold about it and go, I'm not. Nothing has to be any allocated amount of time. That's not what the kids are interested. That's not what people are. And I think that you have to admit now that people are consuming media in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I think young, innovative creators will be ahead of that, and they'll know exactly what that is. And I don't know what it is, and I certainly, will be slow on the uptake. But I just hope people feel that they should use their phones and their, all these recording devices and AI and all that stuff that kind of terrifies us. I'm not that scared of it for some reason. I think the kids will find ways to be creative. That's just in the nature of humans.
Sure, yeah. Last question. What is your favorite movie soundtrack of all time?
I would say Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, because it really is a soundtrack that like is embedded in the film. The two things are just connected so well. It really is a soundtrack, like a proper soundtrack where each song, has a memorable scene. It pushes the plot forward. There's so many different styles, even though it's within the disco sort of umbrella. It's a wonderful soundtrack.
Oh, amazing. Is there anything I haven't mentioned about Power Ballad that you would like to?
No, it's out in June 5th in cinemas. Hopefully people will come and see it. It's a nice shared experience to see a musically themed movie not on a phone or an iPad. In the same way that kind of it's nice to go to a horror film with a bunch of friends. They're kind of there for you. It's nice to see songs performed with people. So hopefully people will feel inclined to go and see. And, Paul Rudd throws Nick Jonas off a balcony.
There you go.
So that's a reason to go.
That's the reason to go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you very much.
Have so much fun at the festival.
I will, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.